who that is. Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Legends and Dragons podcast, episode 40, here from the Legends Lair in Hurst, Texas. Chance Wilson.
Jimmy Klaus.
Chance,
And we have Miguel Villasenor.
There you go.
I'm glad you said it.
I decided to take lead on that.
Hey, so Miguel, you're a big car guy, and I know that, but let me tell you something I just found out yesterday. So I get home, and Miriam goes, hey, I just wanted to talk to you about Journey. So, what's everything okay? Said, well, with the frost and everything that was going on, she didn't understand the froster. So she was apparently driving with the windows all fogged up and everything else. And I was like, I have failed. I have failed as a father to teach her about that. I was like,
Tell her that the way to do that is to turn the heater on defrost, but not the AC, and just watch her struggle with that.
oh my God, she said that. Yeah. Well, Miriam said that as Judy was sharing, like she had like the AC like all the way cranked up in the cold. I was like, what?
Yeah. Purpose.
Yeah. I was like, science. Like stay in school. Yeah, stay in school. Anyways, I just thought you enjoy that.
Yeah, I did. I enjoyed
Yeah, so anyways. Miguel, I just want you to know, man, I'm very excited about
Me too.
podcast, man, because your story, your testimony is phenomenal. Chance, I don't know, have you ever rolled with Miguel?
No.
So Miguel, I don't know if you remember, this will always be in my mind. Miguel was the very first person when I went over there to Machado's when we were training over there. And Miguel was like, hey, come on. He let me put him in the guillotine. So he's like, come on. And then he was like, all right, now lift up and choke. And of course, then you hear the, well, I mean, that was the last time Miguel let me do anything.
Right.
Ever since. But I was like, man, this guy just called me out. Like, come on, man, let's put some work in. And so I was like, you're one of the first guys that did that. So.
I have a funny story about the guillotine. We'll get to it later.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Very good. Miguel, where are you from, man?
I'm from here. I'm from Dallas. Well, Dallas area. East Dallas. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So you were born, raised here.
Born and raised here. Went to school here. Went through all the troubles, drama, everything here. Yeah.
Well,
I can see myself going anywhere else. I lived in Louisiana for about 9 months. A family had custody of me, and man, I didn't like it over there.
no, like Louisiana.
I mean, it was okay, but at that point in time when I was younger, they thought it was all Creole, and I didn't know what that was. And when I told them I was Mexican, they're like, what is that? I'm like, you don't know what a Mexican is? And then I know I don't look like your typical Mexican because I'm mixed.
Mm-hmm.
So it was just weird when I was going over there. I went to LaGrange High School. So just the places I've been, traveled, I love Texas.
Yeah.
I love Texas.
Yeah. You like some of that Louisiana food now?
Oh, the boudin.
Food's great.
Yeah, boudin is delicious.
And the music is
pizza rice, all that's good, but I can just order that here in Texas.
Man,
Gonna pop the dough.
yeah. So your mom and dad, are they from Texas as well?
Yes, my dad's from Laredo, right by the border between Laredo, Texas, and Laredo, Mexico. There, and my mom's from Dallas.
Okay.
Yes,
All right. So let's talk about your martial arts journey.
that started. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, so you started in elementary school, right?
No, I started when I was 14. And I got into Taekwondo. And, at that time, karate and all that was huge. So I've always I was like every other kid. I wanted to get into it, but I was like, do the practicing, watch Ninja Turtles, do everything like that in a sense. And I remember going to my first school. I don't remember the name of it, but I started just clicked for me. And I remember, I forgot what to call him. I still call it professor. The head guy was like, saw the sparring. I was sparring. I was always a big kid, so I remember there was like a upper belt, and we're doing a sparring session with him. And I wasn't afraid to kick and get in there and get hit by him. So he approached me. He's like, "Did you ever thought about kickboxing?" And I said, "I don't even know what that entails or something like that." So got into kickboxing, won a couple of tournaments, and loved it. But then, the streets, yeah, it's hard to say when you're in the streets. That doesn't apply. Like a one-on-one, yeah, but in the streets it's hardly ever one-on-one.
Right.
They're jumping on you, so you're trying to throw a kick, that ain't happening. You're just tired, you're going down, so it's like, okay. So then boxing seemed more natural to me. So I went to boxing.
Oh, okay.
They can stay on your feet.
So to stay on my feet. I wish I knew about jiu-jitsu back then.
Oh, yeah.
Yes,
You get a lot of fights.
tons of fights. And what I mean by tons of fights, like tons, it's like it was something that I remember my first fight I did have. I was so scared to get into it. This guy was coked up, and these guys were pushing me like, "Hey, fight him!" I'm like, "Man, I don't want to fight him." Like, yeah, like I didn't want to.
Yeah.
But they pushed me against the guy, and he like, boom, and he just, bah. And I tried to do as best I could, but he beat me up. And but I remember thinking, I was like, "That's it. That's it."
Right.
Yeah, I got a black eye and busting nose, but I'm like, that really doesn't hurt.
Right.
I'm like, I don't remember the punches being like hard.
Right.
I was like, oh, this is easy.
Right. Right.
And then it took off from there.
Yeah.
I was like, no, this is easy. Like, and it was just natural. So now I was like, okay, I'm not really scared to fight. I want to learn how to fight.
Okay.
And that's where the taekwondo and the kickboxing. And then I was going to try to be in the streets with it. And then that didn't work the best for me. So when we got in boxing, that worked way better for me.
Yeah.
Way better for me.
Yeah.
And believe it or not, we've talked about it before. Anybody that knows 10%, 15% of any kind of martial art training, boxing, you're already better than average.
Right.
Yeah.
You're better than this guy. They're thinking, oh, this dude is good. And I'm thinking like, bro, I'm just a beginner. You just don't know nothing.
Right.
And it just makes you look that much better. That's all it is.
Yeah.
But, I still would always go against guys, spar guys. I remember as a boxer, I would go to like different gyms. They would say, hey, you got this heavyweight over here knocking out fools. Would you spar him?
Yeah.
I'm like, yes.
Of course.
Why would I not?
Yeah. Yeah.
I was like, so I'm in my mind, I'm thinking, okay. And my wife would laugh. She's like, where you going? I said, I'm going to go get knocked out.
Right.
And she's like, just like that. I'm like, well, just like that? Yeah. So I would go, and I never got knocked out. It would always be, he would get me. He would bang me up and outwork me.
Sure.
Yeah.
Because, man, my gas tank ain't the best. Like, they're training all the time. I was training, but I was still in the streets.
Yeah.
So while they're full-time training, drinking and everything, I mean, just training, I'm drinking.
Sure.
Yeah.
So like while they're asleep early, I'm partying.
Right.
Yeah.
And I would still go train. So you can't do that.
Right.
You can't be up to par with those guys.
No.
Yeah.
But got into that, did that for years. I mean, it's helped. That boxing has helped me in so many ways. And then at some point, the shoulders, everything, response time, it's like, man, this is just not it no more. I can't do it no more.
Yeah.
And my son wanted me to teach him boxing. So I did. And then he joined a gym over there in Euless Fight Factory.
Yeah. Fitness Fight Factory.
Yeah, so he joined that. They taught him jiu-jitsu and everything.
Oh, okay.
So he won a strawweight belt under at this organization. He won a title belt under them for Fitness Fight Factory. And he would always be like, Dad, you got to get into jiu-jitsu. I'm like, I'm not going to be rolling around on the ground with these men. Yeah, I'm like, what you doing? He's like, Dad, I would have thought you of all people would be like, yes. I'm like, no. He goes, but didn't you train like at SFS? I had trained over there. I said, yeah, but it was more of if you go to the ground, what to do to get back up.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
How to control, push out, get back.
Which is a good skill to have.
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
So that's what mainly learned. And then Machado wasn't even open yet. It was being built. Like it was starting to come open over there.
Right. Okay.
And we passed by, and I remember saying, look, they're starting one right here. I said, I might check it out.
Okay.
And at this time, the boxing, I'm trying to find something to do, so I got into CrossFit.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
So I got into CrossFit for a good year and a half. And then I'm like, I'm tired of this CrossFit.
It's hard on your body, man.
Well, it was hard on my body. It's like it's a good community, but I had a bad experience at the gym I was going to. Like I showed up, and I guess, I keep to myself, and those that do embrace me, I know I don't try to not to, hey, how you doing right off the bat, because I know how I look. And I know there's a lot of cops everywhere. And it was a cop. He saw me walk in, and he's watching me. Other people had to bring this out of me. And he's like, what are you doing here? And I looked at him like that. But I just moved to the side and kept him. I know you hear me talking to you. You need to talk to the owners and them if you're going to you can't just come in and say one of those gyms, you just come in and start working out, man. And I'm like, I got the bar. I started stretching. He walks right close up to me. He's like, you hear me talking to you? I'm right here talking to you. I said, yeah, I see you talking. I hear you talking. All right. And I'm stretching and doing this. And he's like, get out of here. Get out of here now. And I just look at him. And the mother people like, hey, man, what are you doing? And then one of the coaches, like, he walks up. He's like, leave Miguel alone. He's a member of the gym, man. And I just looked at him. He looks me up and down. He goes, I don't know why you didn't say nothing. I said, you never asked. You never asked.
Just assume right off the bat.
And I was like, and you know, the people like, forget him, Miguel. You know, he's been here lately these last couple of months. And then CrossFit is a time. It's not like any other gym. You just don't show up and work out. They have their times for it.
It's like a class.
Yeah, it's a class every time. And if you show up in the middle class, you might as well just go to a little area and work out yourself. Right. So you're not. So I was never in the class that he was in.
Sure.
And at this time, I don't know if my truck was down. Something was down to it. This day, I'm not usually off. So when that happened, I was like, man, I don't need that. I'm going to step away from that.
Yeah.
So that experience, when I said I want to go to jiu-jitsu, I never even thought in my mind that cops were in jiu-jitsu and all that stuff. Never crossed my mind.
Yeah.
So I go to Machado. I do the first day. Greg says, look, you know, it's a week free, you know, do the whole week. And if you want to sign up, I said, no, I know I want to sign up.
Yeah, right.
He's like, what? He put me against a 17-year-old kid named Donovan. You know, this kid is, man, I don't know, not even 6 feet, but 175 pounds.
Yeah, that.
And he saw me like trying to use my strength against these other white belts that had just started. He's like, Miguel, I want you to go with Donovan. Donovan at this time was a 4-star blue belt. And I was like, all right. So when I talked to the youngster, the kid, I was like, don't worry, man, I won't use my full strength on you. And he says, no, go ahead. I said, nah, you don't want that. Like, you know, because the mentality, you know, still of not knowing. I said, no, you don't want that, man. I'm not going to do that. He goes, no, you can. You can use your full strength. I've been doing this a long time. Like, go ahead. I was like, nah. So the first time I went, I wasn't going full strength. I was trying to still go hard, and he tapped me. And I was like, no, I'm going to get this kid.
Right.
He tapped me 3 more times.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Oh, man.
how did you do that? He goes, well, you left yourself open. I said, where did I leave myself open? I was defending everything.
Yeah.
Oh, you worth the $100. And he started breaking it down. I was like, this 17-year-old kid just kicked my butt.
Right.
He choked me out 4 times.
Yeah.
I said, this stuff works.
Yeah.
I need to learn it.
You know what's funny? That's identical to Philip's story.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Really?
Oh yeah, because so Philip, I met Philip when he was 17, right? Because I've been in karate my whole life, promoting tournaments. You know, the old point karate tournaments. I'm sure you went to some of those when you
where you stand in the line.
Yeah. And you go boom, and then you stop, right? So I've promoted hundreds of those tournaments, and one of them, this 17-year-old Kimpo kid, comes in and competes, and that's when I met him. Right, he's out in South Fort Worth. And then he goes on to become like a 5th degree black belt in Kimpo, owns a school. Like, he's a big deal. Yeah. Like, he knows how to fight, right? And he goes to jiu-jitsu for the first time.
Oh, yeah.
And this teenager does the exact same thing to him. The difference is this teenager had only been training for like 9 months. Like you said, like even when you're kind of decent at martial arts, you're light years ahead of somebody who doesn't know it.
Right.
And he's like, after that experience, he goes and sits in his car. He's just like, I've been living a lie. You know?
It was when he said he owned his own school.
He owned his own school.
I don't want to do the story because Philip tells a story phenomenal, but he owned his own school, went there, got beat up by the teenager. Said I can see them just
fuming in his car.
I can see Philip doing that too.
Thinking about his life choices.
Yeah, because it's the same thing. Like the first time, he's like, "I'm gonna go easy."
Yeah.
And then the next 3 times, he tried like hell. I mean, he tried his best, and it didn't do anything.
Right.
Yeah. That's so cool. And then you sold it.
Oh, yes. But the thing I felt good about is Donovan was, I mean, this happened to anybody. The only thing that helped my ego is everybody like, no, Donovan does that to everybody. He taps out black belts, bro. He's so good. Like, he's gonna be, he's training to be in the SEALs. I'm like, okay, good. I just it wasn't just your basic guy.
Right.
Oh,
that's what had me sold on it.
Yeah.
And I kept coming. And at this time, my son's a blue belt.
Yeah.
You know, so he was like, so what have you learned? And I'm like, I've learned this, and that. But he always trained no gi.
Yeah.
So in the gi, he's lost.
Right.
Because, you know, you're training in fight places like in any MMA, they training you no gi.
Yeah.
So when we would roll, I'm trying all this stuff on him, and it don't work on him.
Yeah.
And my son, he won't tap me out. He can't because just basic, I'm his father. I'm like, I'm not going to let you do that. But I can't tap him out. I'm thinking to myself, I'm his father. I should be able to do this boy.
Yeah.
Well, no, I tap him out as I will now. Now I can't. Now he even says it. He says, Dad, you have to like shoot him. I don't even know what to do.
Well, you're a purple belt now, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So he like, you hit me for legs, knee bars, calf sliders. You're orange. He's like, you're hitting everywhere, Dad. I was like, you're leaving them all open.
Like Donovan Johnson.
So Miguel, it was the open house. It was over at Henton's Road. Yeah, so we're at open house. And Miguel called me over and goes, hey, come on. And dude, no gi, man. I'm like, no, I'm not very good. I'm not very good. But so Miguel, the whole, how many minutes was it? Like 7 minutes, I think? 7
I think
minutes?
so. 7 minute rounds.
Probably 700 times. Not even exaggerating how many times he tapped me out. This family's all on the side. So I got my own little highlight reel, man. Just destroyed the heck out of it, man. Knee bar. I was like, I just, you know what? The only thing I can say is I kept getting back up.
Yes.
I kept getting back up.
So, and this is what's so great. This is why guys like you and I have to do this, and it's going to be similar to what you talked about, because as a boxer, kickboxer, street fighter, you weren't not a big deal. Like you knew what was up, right? Like you could stand toe to toe, right? Even if you got your butt kicked, you still stood toe to toe, right? And then all of a sudden, jiu-jitsu shows up, and you're back at square one as a fighter, right? And so the thing is, if this is what I think the problem with martial arts is today, okay, is that once you reach this level of proficiency, what some people call mastery, if you don't on purpose put yourself back at square one, you start falling for the BS of this grand, I'm a big deal, I know what's up, and you live in this bubble where you are the biggest fish in a tiny pond. You're like a shark in a fish tank, right? And it's not real. It's not true, right? Yeah. And so as people who, like you and I, who have kind of reached this, we got a black belt, we got whatever, we have to make sure that we stay a beginner somewhere.
Right.
Yeah. Otherwise, I think something dies in us.
Yeah.
I think that's when we really get old and useless. And my instructor, I'm picking him up from the airport in a few hours.
Okay.
He said, "Are you working tonight?"
I am. Yeah, last night.
He's coming to teach class. Hanshi Kovar from Sacramento. So he has 10 black belts in 10 different styles. He's like a 4th degree in Okinawan Kobudo. He's a 5th degree in Jiu-Jitsu under Pedro Sauer. He's a 9th degree in Tracy Kimpo. Like he's like a walking encyclopedia. It's like 67 years old. He's in better physical condition than anybody I've ever met in my life. But he talks about Shoshin. And it's a Japanese term that means beginner's mind. We have to stay a beginner. We have to.
Yeah.
Right? Because I think that's the only thing that keeps us young, Miguel. I think we really get old if we don't stay a beginner somewhere, and serving really helps us do that.
Yeah.
You're teaching, right?
Yeah.
Well, not only teaching, but you're helping a bunch of young men as well, right?
Yes, from a juvenile center.
Good.
Yeah, so let's talk about that.
So the kids that come from the juvenile center, so I did term. I did 11 years, 2 months on a 12-year sentence.
In Texas?
In Texas, yes. And
what unit?
I was at the hotel unit, Plonsky unit, maximum.
I've been there.
Yes. So I was there where it was still rock and roll, and not, I guess now everything's kind of calm. They still have their problems, but anyways, growing up, the reason I got so much love for these kids and want to do something for them, and this is what I love about Professor. I'm gonna kind of skip here.
Yeah.
What I love about Professor Gray, when the gym opened up, he called me. He's like, Miguel, I got something to ask you. What do you think about teaching no-gi? Since you love no-gi, it's what you're good at, would you teach it? I said, I don't know about that, Professor. I really don't. I appreciate that you would think I'm capable of that. Thank you so much. I just don't know if I want to do that, And Professor being who he is, in a sense of seeing potential where other people don't.
Sure.
He's like, okay, well, how about this? I know you do these things with the youth and everything. How about if you teach those kids, learn for free in your classes? I was like, I'm in. Literally, I'm in.
That's just brilliant. That is brilliant. Oh, so smart.
So I was like, I can do that. I said, so they train? He says, yes. He goes, they train for free. He goes, because I asked that I didn't want nothing. He's like, well, we'll put you on the path. I said, no, sir, I don't want nothing. I don't want nothing, sir. I said, I just want to do this. I'm willing to do that. He's like, well, then yeah, they're willing to come even when you're not there. They're willing to train. He goes, that you have to be paid something, for your services. So that's what it is. The kids that go to from the juvenile that you're mentoring will train for free. They will be a part of our group, our family. I'm like, I said, I promise I won't let you down. I will bring them up to speed on etiquette, respect, sure, stuff like that, at all times. And it's like, all right. He goes, I trust that. And so that going back to why I do coach now.
Yeah.
And these kids, they love it. They call me like, Bill, for this weekend? Miguel? I'm like, yeah. So we're going to get that. We're going to do that. What are we learning? And their goal is, I'm going to tap you out one day. Yeah. I was like, no, you should get down to learning the technique and tapping other people. I'm not worried about other people.
Either target.
I'm like, okay, because they sound like my son.
Yeah.
My son every year on my birthday comes to the jiu-jitsu and he's like, hey, Daddy. He shows up and he's smiling. I'm like, I know what you're here for. And he goes, I showed up in the middle of the class. I knew you got some rounds in you, so you should be tired. But so that's why I love getting them into it, because I knew what it did for me when I was young.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because literally, like I said, even though I wasn't like dedicated as much as the guys who were showing up at the gym every day, competing this and that, that still kept me from being a drug addict. Because I was doing drugs.
Yeah.
I did everything from I smoked crack, I tried coke, I did meth, just didn't do heroin, whatever you want to say it, but I never did it.
So you had you were a what is it? You had your standards. You were a standard.
Well, it's just because my aunt, who I love with all my heart, I got addicted. And she made a comment, don't ever try it. Whatever you're doing in them, do not try this. This is not, I don't care how strong you think you are, this is stronger than anybody else. Mm-hmm. When she said that, she not ever mislead me in a sense. Yeah. And I was like, okay, I'm not trying that. And I had friends that would do it. They'd even somehow like snort it, breaking down and snort it. And I'm like, they would call, back then it was called that brown, that boy, that girl.
Yep.
Yeah. And that was considered the boy. Yep. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, no, I don't mess with that boy. And you got to be from that area to know.
You know it, yeah.
Yeah, you know what that means.
Well, that's why, Miguel, that's why we have soccer moms hooked on pain pills, and they don't think they're doing heroin, but they're doing heroin. It's an opiate. Yeah. And so that's the thing. We have an opiate problem in this country, right? Fentanyl. What was the big one that they had the big legal thing about the pharma company, the one that OxyContin. Oh, right. Yeah. So all of these are opiate derivatives, right? Which at some level is no different than you going and banging heroin on the street. Yeah, it's doing the same thing to your body.
It's just when you're small doses.
Exactly. But that's why we have people with back injuries, and 10 years later they mysteriously still have a back injury, right? Because they can't get off the pain pills. And it's heroin. Yeah. At a base level, that's what it is. It's heroin. Yeah. It's like they never did street heroin. They got it from their doctor.
Yeah. After my kidney cancer, they gave me some pain meds.
Yep.
And I took, so I took all the pain
meds. You had to at first.
So I took all the pain meds. And man, as soon as I stopped taking the medicine coming to get out of me, I was just, shaking.
Yes.
And so I told Miriam, I was like, hey, well, like, now I understand why people
Right.
are get hooked.
Yes.
Because of that coming down. You're like, oh my, I mean, it was a good.
The
probably
two
12
things
hours.
that have scared me, because that's what I do outside of here. I teach martial arts and I help guys get clean. And I'm an NA guy. And the two things that I have watched people struggle with more than anything was alcohol and opiates. Those two. I've watched people struggle more with trying to get off booze and get off opiates than any other drug on the, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you're right, it's a slippery slope, man.
Yeah, man.
And
It sure is.
and doing the fighting and stuff like that, it's like it had that leash on you just enough to where you couldn't let yourself go completely to it.
Well, yeah.
Right.
Well, because it's like even now it helps me. Like if I get to working too much and then I go and I notice, I still tapped the guy out or I still did this, but in my mind I'm like, how much effort did you have to use?
Right.
Were you gassed out more?
Right.
I'm like, because you're not training as much, you're not doing that shit I put in. So I'm always gauging myself.
Sure.
That's why I understand that beginner level, dude. Because I always put myself like, if I feel like I'm already tapping out here and like, okay, your game is good. Now try something different. Now try nothing but working out of your hard position. So for the next 6 months, that's all I'm doing. It's just working out a bad position.
Smart.
Gets me right.
Yes.
So martial arts has always been fighting, the fight game, all that. It's always been like a way. When I felt I was getting too much into the drugs, I started feeling sloppy. I started feeling this, or I get into a fight, and I realized how it attacks my body. I was like, and literally, if I got into a fight, boom, 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 and I was like, man, I should have dropped that dude a lot easier.
Right.
And this and that. And I'm like, oh no. So the next day, while everybody's sparring him, I'm in the gym.
Good.
I'm in the gym trying to get that back.
So how old were you when you went away?
I was 21 when they locked me up. I had just turned 21. I got out when I was 32.
Okay. So how old are you?
45.
Okay. So when you got out, what kept you from, I guess, falling back into the old routine?
Well, it was in there. It was everything in there because I've always been about, I can't stand weakness in myself. So my son wrote a letter. I had spent my first almost 7 years locked up and medium cussing close because I never saw a population because of fighting, because I knew how to fight.
Yeah.
So it was easy. Like, bro, what? Handball. You said that was out? I'll fight. I'll fight. Well, anyways, my son wrote a letter.
A lot of outside.
Oh, yeah. Well, they never sagged me. The only time they tried to sag me was my first riot. My first riot, so many people got stabbed. I was the dude they were trying to kill. So that riot, they almost sagged me. We were on lockdown for 3.5 months. Charlie sags. Like, I lost weight. I was like crackhead skinny.
Yeah.
But like to what we're saying, just being in there, my son, he was going to come see me. And he wrote a letter. I got locked up when he was 6, and at this time he's 12. And the letter, I got it framed, so I got to put up. He said, I'm in close custody. He said, we're going to go see you. Grandma said, we're going to go see you. Is there any way I can touch you? Because since you've been in jail, I have not been able to touch you because the whole time they bring me with handcuffs on behind the glass.
Yeah.
Because of my status. And so I was messing with me. He's like, I have $176. Is that enough to get you out of jail?
Oh my God.
He goes, if not, I got more money coming in Christmas, and maybe we can get you out and we can go to a movie because I really miss you, Dad. I got that letter, and I'm like tearing up.
Yeah.
The guy at the time, I got a cellmate, and he's like, say, bro, or is everything okay? He thought somebody passed away.
Yeah.
And then at that time, in my mind, nobody passed away, but after all these years, somebody did pass away that died. My old self was dying as that letter was being read,
Yeah. Yeah.
So there was this lawman that came and shook me down. He'd always mess with me because at this time, so about Tango Blast. So Tango Blast is the biggest Mexican gang in Texas prisons. I spoke for us. I was the one that once riots and stuff and pop off or issues were happening, I would sit down with the Mexican Mafia, Texas Syndicate, Mandingo Wars, Bloods, Cribs. We'd have a sit down, try to get everything understood. We can't get understood, then we riot. We're going to war, you know what I'm saying? That's what it was. So being that guy, you're always targeted by other inmates and officers. So he would hit my cell and he'd be like, And I had the smart mouth. I had the basic attitude that every ignorant person thinks he knows it all, or dealing with anger issues, whatever, situations. And, when he would come up, I'm F you, this and that, you a punk. Because you a lob, you was in here, you be my punk. I'd have you washing my underwear, like that kind of stuff, and talking to him. And so I deserved those shakedowns. Yeah, I did. I deserved them.
Yeah.
And that day, so when they shake you down, there's a bean slot at the door. So you got to turn around, put your hands behind your back, and they put the handcuffs on you before they even open that door.
Yeah.
So he does that. That letter is still on my desk.
Yeah.
They have one desk, one chair for you to, share with your cellmate. And so they take me and my cellmate to the shower. That's where they put you in. If they're shaking down your cell, they put you in the shower, lock the showers up for them. And they're shaking me down. And excuse me. And I'm mad because it was, this guy. But I didn't even talk mess to him this time. And he noticed it. He was like, oh, I don't got nothing. I don't got no smart mouth for me. I said, man, just do what you got to do, man.
Right.
Just turn my house up here. Please don't mess with my pictures. That's all I care. Just don't mess with my pictures. He comes to the shower where he's got me locked up, and he goes, Villasenor, you all right? I said, man, why you worried about all right? What's your problem? He goes, I saw that letter. I said, man, why you reading my mail? Because I automatically got sure, of course. So why you reading my mail?
Yeah.
He says, look, brother, I didn't open it to read it. It's open. He goes, look, man. He goes, you want to know why I mess with you? I said, yeah, because I know who I am. He goes, yeah, it's not just because of who you are. You have a certain status. He goes, there's other guys that have statuses too. And I look at them like, how does he have it? I know why you have it. And the fact that you choose it for this, man, that's why I mess with you, because you're wasting it. I said, man, you don't know me. He goes, no, yeah. He goes, yes, I do. I said, you don't know me, man. He goes, well, somebody that does know you is that kid that wants to see you. He goes, and maybe what he's saying in there, these little arm boys that you keep staying back here for, speaking up for, maybe you need to start doing something for yourself and see your kid wants. Touch your son. I said, keep my son's name out your mouth. I was mad.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, I see I can't talk to you right now. He goes, look, I just want to tell you, you're more than what you think you are. And even if you're not who I think you should be, you're everything to that boy in there.
Whoa.
I was like, all right. So he took me, put me back in my cell. I reread that letter. I reread that letter countless times throughout those years. So I knew then, I was like, I'm going to give myself a chance. It wasn't automatic. It never happens right away. So I worked myself from close custody to medium custody. Medium custody. I worked myself from medium custody to population. It's my first time seeing population in 7.5 years.
Wow.
So I'm like, I'm not used to this.
Sure. Yeah.
Walking a child. I'm used to you feeding me and myself.
Yeah.
Rec 3 times a day. I'm able to walk back and forth. And I got anxiety. I didn't even know it then till now what it was. I had anxiety to where I was like, man, this is too much freedom.
Yeah.
This is too much freedom. And I'm like,
yeah, because you were in lockdown with 7 years.
And there's too much vulnerability because there's so many people around you.
not only that, now it was kind of without knowing it. Now that I've been able to digest,
Yeah.
I was like, it felt better when somebody was, even though I hated it. Right. I'm like, this is too much choice making for me right now.
Right.
Nobody's telling me to be in a cell. Nobody's telling me nothing. I need that right now.
Right.
That's weird that they believe that. And what was good about it is some people will never understand that that's what they're going through, because if you don't understand, you can't overcome.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? It's like an addiction.
Right.
So there it goes. So I'm making the population. I'm still speaking for Dongo Blast. All the homeboys, they're like, hey, man, bro, you been back there a minute. Because they would always have to shoot kites to the back to get word, this and this and that.
Yeah.
And so I'm up. And I had my test along the way where I almost came back fights, or this got away with the fights, this and that. Like, you just don't go Christian and think everything's lovely after that in prison.
Right.
It doesn't happen. And I'm sorry. One thing I told my kids is, I promised them that I would come home the same way I came in. I'm coming with everything working, everything right. I'm not going to come from stabbed and I messed up. Like, in my mind, that's how, for when I fought, I was like, no, I'm going to fight. I'm going to hurt you way before you hurt me, because I'm coming out good. I'm not going to come out banged up, messed up knee, or all this from everything getting done to me. So I always told my family that I'll never go like a set off because I was trying to mess with these female laws. And there was many chances the female laws try to talk to you. Especially me, I remember a law, she was trying to take me in the freezer and do stuff. And I was like, no. She's like, how long have you been locked up? And at this time, I was like almost 9 years. Yeah. She was like, you don't want to go in here and do nothing. I was like, no. She goes, what are you, gay? I said, yes, I'm gay. I like them big and everything. Right. And my friend was laughing when he heard me tell her that. Because I'm like, for real, you're going to test my manhood? Right. But it was always at the end of the day, I don't want to tell my kids that the reason I didn't come home because I couldn't keep it in my pants. I wasn't strong enough.
Right.
I want to say the reason that I didn't come home is because I fought this dude because he was trying to hurt me.
Yeah.
That was acceptable to me.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, I'm in population, and I am speaking for us. Many things happen along the way. There's a deal called Kingdom Brawlers that they started up. I remember my friend said, hey, man, this Kingdom Brawlers, you want to get a part of it? I was like, nah, I'm good. He said, nah, come check it out. He goes, they show free world movies, bro. If you join it, he goes, and every 6 weeks, they get pizza. I'm like, for real? Yeah, for real? Yeah. You know, yeah, and he goes, inside the gym, we test each other. We like, do like pull the ring and all these deals to test manhood stuff, who's stronger, this and that. Yeah. I'm like, bro, sign me up. Yeah. But when they sign you up, everywhere I go, like we would not ever sit at the same table together, ever in prison. You know what I'm saying? I would know you.
Look at Lusager.
Yeah, maybe. It's the glasses. But we would never sit there. Yeah. I would have dealings with you if those dealings came across where we needed to talk, but we would never sit there and break bread together. Mm-hmm. That's just not what we would do. Yeah. And when you go to Kingdom Brawlers, everybody's sitting at that table. So I'm looking for my homeboys, my Mexican race, my people. Yeah. No. He's like, no, you're sitting here. I'm like, what? You're sitting here, sir. It's blood, a crab, and a wood. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
And I'm like, no, I'm not sitting here.
Yeah.
And they're like, yes, you are. This is part of it. And I had the people that invite me like, oh, bro, give it a chance. I said, bro, you didn't tell me I had to sit with, my oppositions.
Right, yeah.
Like, no, what am I going to talk to them about? And they're like, no, chill. And I'm like, okay, I'm doing this for the pizza and the movies. And I sat down, when I talked to them dude, I said, man, look, I ain't trying to be disrespectful to none of y'all. I said, but y'all know what this is, man, where we at, where we from. This ain't happening. I said, if y'all doing it for what I'm doing it for, we're going to keep it like neutral. Yeah. I don't need to hear nothing. You ain't going to hear nothing from me. Yeah. And they're like, Pony Boy. That's what they call me. They're Pony Boy, Because Pony Boy from the West Side, you remember the movie?
Yeah.
He went out on his own to do his thing. And that was me. Even though I was part of something, I would never, hey, I'm going to go do this. If a dude said something at the basketball court to me or this or that, I'd fall out of place wherever I need to go. And me and you just hadn't been in your cell and I'm making my way back. Mm. So they gave me the nickname Pony Boy. So they're like, oh, Pony Boy, give it a chance. And those dudes became my brothers. Yeah. Those dudes became my brothers.
Was it weird because I'm assuming for however 7-8 years, and it was ingrained, like, if you're not sitting with the whites, you're not sitting with the blacks, right? I mean, you were just there. So did you have that kind of mentality even before you hit prison?
No.
Just prison, just basically survival.
So
prisons are the most racist place.
They are. And the thing is that obviously I've got, some of my very, very best friends not only have done time, but they're still there and they're never getting out. I've got family members. And so one of the things that it's not my story to tell, so I won't tell you which family member.
Okay. Yeah.
But Mm-hmm. And he told me, he said, you can go into prison not racist, but you don't survive there unless you can learn to at least behave like you are. He goes, you don't have to become racist, but you have to act like it,
respect
or you will not survive.
Because it's survival, right?
You won't survive. So my experience at the kids, I haven't done any serious time, but I've been in cuffs a handful of times, but I escaped it. And it was all drugs. It was all drugs, right?
You say, why are you ignoring it?
I didn't escape the cuffs. Like, I escaped having to do hard time.
I appreciate that.
And I got clean. If I hadn't gotten clean, I'd have done time. However, I have been to Terrell Unit. And so one of my idols growing up in martial arts So you got to understand what karate is now is not what it was in the 80s.
So no,
You know what I'm talking about.
it was right.
They used to make fun of us for wearing gear because gear was so new. Because my dad and his generation just fought bare knuckle, right? And so there was this older kid, and he looked like Eddie Van Halen. So he was the coolest thing that I'd ever seen in my life. He was 4 years older than me. So he was, to me, he was an adult. When I was 10, he was 14, right? He was gorgeous, looked like a Greek god. The girls loved him. And I'd never seen anyone as fast and strong as him. And he's the only guy, he's the reason I don't wear a cut. Because he cracked it with a growing shot. Yeah, I was 10. It's a lot of fun, right? So this guy, I idolized him, man. And he very quickly got into girls and drugs and drinking, and I followed right after him. And then he moved off. And the next thing I know, of course, I'm, neck deep in dope.
Yeah.
Next thing I heard about him is that he's in prison for killing someone, and it just kept going and kept going and kept going and kept going. And he was never getting out. He was never getting out, Miguel. And he got out. And he looked me up because the last thing he knew, I was a straight-laced kid. And he's like, I could go back to doing what I was doing, but I'm going to go hang out with Chance because he's my teacher's kid and he's a good guy.
Yeah.
And it wasn't.
Surprised him.
I was getting hungry. And
It was because of him.
he got high with me.
Well, do you feel like you let him down?
And 2 weeks later, he shot a guy and he'll never get out.
So you carry
Does
that.
any of that mess with you?
Of course, it messed with me.
Do you feel like you're responsible?
I do.
Why though?
I did until he reached out to me and asked me to come speak to his prison unit. And because he had gotten into there's a program inside, and it might be Kingdom Blast,
Kingdom Brothers.
Kingdom Brawlers. It might be that, but it's basically to combat, because gangs are on the outside or run from inside. Most people don't know that. But he had become a part of that, when they were trying to combat it. And so he's never getting out, but, he can approach trustee status, you know what I mean? Because he's doing good work, right? Turned his life over to God, reached out and asked me to go in there and speak. And I went in and because I've been clean a long time.
Yeah.
I went in there and I spoke to the group, but I got a chance to be one-on-one. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And I got a chance to be one-on-one with him. And I just broke down. I was like, man, I feel like, and he just hugged me and he said, Francis, he's like, we are all responsible for our decisions. He said, I found out you were getting high. The second I reached out to you, I didn't have to come hang out with you. He's like, that is 100% on me. But I needed that.
Right.
Because I felt responsible.
Yeah.
Do you understand? And it was such a gift from God for him to release that from me. You know what I mean? But I needed him personally to do it. I needed him to forgive me.
But you know that what he's possessing right there, what he has right there, has allowed him to change. Because if you don't possess that, you can't change.
Yeah, right.
And the reason I say that is because, and to go back to what you said, when I got out, what changed?
Yeah. Yeah.
So Kingdom Brawlers, I'll give it that. Kingdom Brawlers, what it is, I said these guys became my brothers, is this men of faith. Mm-hmm. So I found God again, really found him.
Yeah.
This is me learning how to be a son, a brother, a father, a husband one day. And I wanted to succeed in all aspects of that. And I knew the only way I could succeed in all of that was first I had to be a son to my father. Mm-hmm. See what I'm saying?
That's good. Yeah.
So it broke me down like me. There was a song that hit me so hard. It was a song that was like my anthem through that whole trend was Chris Young and the man I want to be. Mm-hmm. So it would hit me to when I would hear that, because it is true. And these guys, it teaches you we're not Bloods, Crips, Down Blacks, we're nothing, that we're brothers.
Yeah.
We're fathers that have left their sons and we're struggling.
Yeah.
We're men, sons that have left their mothers and stuff out there missing their sons. Mm-hmm. We have failed.
Yeah.
We've messed up. And we have to hold ourselves accountable for that.
Yeah.
So it was at this moment that I decided that I wanted to back away from the blacks, that I no longer wanted to speak for us. And everybody was like, oh boy, why don't you write it out until you get released and then change out there? I said, because if I can't change in here where it's the hardest, it won't work for me out there.
Yeah.
I have to do it here where I'm being tested with everything.
Yeah.
So I can prepare myself and know it's real.
Like a crucible. Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So they're like, are you sure this is what you want to do? Because the only way, there's only two ways you get out the blast. You literally get care flight. Care flight is you get beat up so bad that they call the helicopter to come get you and you're gone. Care flight. I can't say I'm Christian. And they'll let me do, that's one thing they do respect. You want to be both Christian, we're not putting our hands on you. But if we catch you doing anything unchristian like.
That's a way to keep you accountable.
Yeah.
But the thing is, if you're not real about it, okay, they can use it. If you got a guy that's just aiming for you, he's like, oh, I saw him watching Salvador Gigante. Like,
Right.
Watching the girls.
Right.
That's not Christian, like bang them up.
Right.
Oh, there you go. It just takes something like
They
that.
can still get you even if you're not doing it.
Yeah.
So I was like, but it wasn't even a process. That wasn't even like,
Right.
I got in, and me being a half-breed, like the basic Mexican guy has two guys running in itself. Since I'm a half-breed, there always had to be four guys. Every time you get to a new unit. And I said, nah. I said, I've been doing this a minute, bro. I know what it is. I put my hands on homeboys myself for certain acts. I said, I know what I want to do. I said, I'm trying to not only show God that I'm serious, I'm also really on cool trying to prove it to myself.
Yeah.
You know, and I need this. I said, because if I can't do this and know that I did it the right way, I'm going to feel like I'm lying to my kids when I tell them they can overcome something. And I need this truth, you know?
Yep.
And they're like, that's what I said. I don't understand that, but if that's what you want to do, sure. You know what I'm saying? I said, yeah, I know you don't understand it. Or just it's a little bit more in depth.
Yeah.
So we sent out the kites. Everything, Horrible wants to back away. You know what it is. He doesn't want to go Christian. So if y'all decide who's smashing him, well, he's, you know, I'm down. Like, tell me where to go, where to be to receive this major butt whoop or whatever it is y'all decide.
Right.
So first act, guys been there many times, so many times when they're trying to stab me, all kinds of things. Been there, and it took me through all this to see that he was there. But this was like the first act that I just noticed. So we go to the rec yard. All the homeboys are there. They're all surrounded from Houston, Dallas, Fort Worth, Austin, West Texas. While right there, and I'm like, what's up? They're like, homeboy, we got all the kites in. I said, all right, bro, let's do this. We doing it here? And they're laughing. They're like, no. I said, where we going? Nowhere. Well, man, what are you talking about? No one wants to put their hands on you, homeboy. Everybody's voted that they got too much love for you. That if you decide to walk away, they want to give you their. Just so you run out talking about it, it gets to me.
Yeah.
Because that's not heard of.
They don't do that.
They don't do that.
No.
And I'm like, homeboy, no, man. I'm not just stepping back and letting somebody speak for us. I'm done. Like, I'm done.
Yeah.
They go, homeboy, we know. They go, homeboy, you put yourself on the line so many times for the homeboys. The time you spend back there, heck, you got homeboys right here saying they want you to read the kite. They said they wish they could change the way you change it for your son. They're saying you want to be a father one day, and we're saying that's what we want for you.
Wow.
They said, so if you got problems, you got issues,
Yeah.
we're still here. And you're still welcome at the table. I said, when I'm not a homeboy, they go, you're still welcome at the table. That's huge, because you can't sit at that
insane.
table.
No,
without
you can't.
us. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, I said, man, that's nothing but love, man. And they're like, bro, with the way you led us, you always took it upon it. There was a lot of times where we could have rioted.
Yeah.
And other people have. And I said, no, I decided, I said, hey, how about this? Me and you, they have the issue, or this issue is you. You got this issue. If you could whoop me, then we'll settle it your way. But if I whoop you, then what we're going to do is we're going to settle this. This dude's owe you 400. We can't cover it, but we'll cover 200. And that way we'll squash it. I'll be responsible for the 200. And I would do things like that was unheard of for them to say, like, damn, bro, you're taking it upon yourself. I said, what kind of person would I be that I speak for us? War is the last thing that we should go at. Didn't you tell me the other day that you're finna have your kid come see you up here for the first time in 2 years? Why would I throw that away right now before some pride issue? Why would I do that? I said, you got guys coming up for parole. Why would I throw that? Like, but we all know what we signed up for. I said, yeah, but even a military guy signs up for war, but doesn't mean I'm gonna throw him in a war just because he signed up for it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Doesn't mean that.
Right.
So they let me back away.
Wow.
That's awesome.
And I got into Kingdom Brawlers tough. And man, I remember they sent me to a unit, a pre-release unit. And that was my first time realizing that I had PTSD.
The sex. Yeah, sure. Of course.
Yeah.
And the freedom, the open doors, the wide open, it was I needed structure. I need somebody telling me where to go.
Yeah.
The way these guys would just run around, so this pre-release unit, some of these people were not even doing a year or two locked up, so they would never see an ID unit. So they're bringing their free roll mentality to this penitentiary, well, so-called penitentiary, but it's not. So they don't have the mentality of a real penitentiary. The real penitentiary, if you move my stuff, like if I put my stuff right there on that chair and you move it so you can sit down, I don't have to ask you why you do that. I can run up on you and just, I don't care who you're a part of. Even your own people will sit back and let it happen because you were wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah. These guys are just everywhere. And I'm like,
Got no manners. At all. Got no manners. Right.
and I remember one time I'm in my cell and this dude just opens my cell. He goes, hey, where's your cell? I said, bro, don't you ever in your life open my cell. He's like, what? I said, man, you not yourself, bro.
Right.
And they're like, bro, I was just trying to look for your cell. And they told me, I said, what's wrong with your cell, man? You know, he's like, well, my cell been locked up over 10 years, right? You gotta understand. Yeah, so it was a transition from all that. Even when I became released, and there's a whole deal to being released that I was happy. I started working.
Yeah.
I remember I was struggling. I had a friend put some dope in my hand. I was gonna go sell it.
Sure, of course.
Yeah.
Because that's what I did before I locked up. I was selling. When I say I was selling dope, I was getting rid of at least 2 keys a week. I was getting 2 pounds of meth a week and at least 150 pounds. That was my weekly deal when I was selling.
Wow.
Yeah. So I was a 20-year-old with a navigator.
Yeah.
At the time. And so I'm like, I was like, they knew I could move it. And man, I don't care. It's weird. No matter how long you're gone, if you go back to your hood, you can get connected again.
Boom.
Like that.
Yeah.
You can move to a new city where you don't know anybody.
But
And you can find it.
Yes.
You can find it.
And they'll know just the way you talk, the way you carry it. If you run the numbers, if you sit there and say this don't make sense, what's it going for? They'll be like, bro,
Yeah.
you're going to
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's how the streets work.
Yeah.
You know? And I remember she wasn't my wife at the time, Angel. She was at this time my girlfriend, still the mother of my daughter, but she wanted to help me. And I had this pride, like, no, I'm gonna do this. And I'm working overtime. I'm working this, and I can't pay my apartment. I don't have a mom or pops. You know what I'm saying? That's one thing we were talking about. I was homeless from 13. Mom kicked me out, so I was homeless. That's why I got into the streets.
Sure.
So living at this friend's house, living here, living everywhere, this and this and that.
Yeah.
Times I would be 4 days without eating. I'd break into a car just to steal the radio so I can go get something to eat.
Yeah.
So that's just how the stuff kind of come to pass on that. But I remember my friend hits me up, and this is how the devil works. He hit me up at just the right time. Coincidence now.
Yeah.
He's like, hey man, I need a allergy. You know, we can't talk on the phone. I say, yeah, bet. I go talk to him, and he's like, I have all this that I need to get rid of, and I know you can do it so what's up? I said, nah. First I said, nah, man, I don't do that no more. And he said, you sure, man? You be helping me out.
Yeah.
And I'm not even really making nothing off you. This is what I break down. He broke down what he probably, so he was probably getting like $25 off of each little, like half that I was. So I know I can hit it for more. I knew people that still came in from Louisiana or whatever this and that.
Yeah.
I bet. I said, I need to pay my bills.
Yeah.
I grabbed it. And my father came back to my life the last 3 years of my prison sentence. He had colon cancer. And I remember when he wanted to come see me, I gave it to him. You're a piece of crap. Gave it to him. I gave it to him, talked to him. And when he told me he had cancer, I said, go die. I don't care. Die. Why you coming here to see me?
Yeah.
I said, you ain't nobody. You ain't nothing to me. He kept coming. I fell in love with my father.
Yeah.
I forgave him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the business I do today, the reason I do this business is transporting. Me and my father talked about doing it together.
Wow.
So he passed away 4 months before I got released. Okay? So He said, all I want from you is to promise me to be the man that I know you can be. I know it ain't because I raised you there, but I see the man who you are. Be the man I know you can be.
Yeah.
And I tell you that because when I got the dope in my hand, I'm taking off, and my girlfriend calls, which is my wife now. She calls and she's like, "Hey, what's going on?" And I can't help but I start crying.
Sure, of course.
And she never heard me cry.
Sure.
Yeah.
She's like, "Hey, Miguel, what's going on?" I said, "I got this dope in my hand right now." And I said, "I'm finna go sell it."
What?
I said, "But I'm disrespecting the promise I made to my father."
Yeah.
And she's like, "Throw it away." I said, "I can't." I said, "I need to pay my bills." I said, who else gonna pay my bills? I don't have no one to depend on. She goes, "You have me." I said, "That's not how it works. I'm the man. I'm supposed to provide for the people I'm with." She goes, "No, a man in your position allows people to help you. You repay them back when you can."
Wow.
She goes, "We're in this together. I'm not just trying to be your girlfriend." She goes, "I'm trying to be your wife." I'm like, "So you're trying to make a down payment?"
You're trying to make it down.
So I was like, I can't ask that of you. You know, I said, "I can't ask that of you." And she's like, "Please, Miguel." She goes, "Please." You know, and she's like, "I know you've had so many people let you down." She goes, "Give me a chance."
Yeah.
And I was like, I said, "This stuff costs like pretty grip. If I throw this away, I got to pay that." She goes, "No, I'll pay it. I got money saved up." I threw it out the window.
Good for you.
Yeah, man.
I threw it out the window. I called my boy when I calmed down. I told him what I did. I told him I pay him. He goes, "No, you ain't got to pay me, man." He goes, "Honestly, when you grabbed it, I was surprised." He goes, "Now that you got this," he called me. He goes, "I wish I could give this up." He goes, "But this is my life." He goes, "So you don't owe me nothing, brother."
Wow.
He said, "You good."
Yeah.
He said, "I'm glad you're even strong enough to keep the change." He goes, "I thought when you got out, you faked it in there.
Yeah.
We're going to come out and..."
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
He goes, "But now I know that..." He ended up going back to the feds for 5 years
Mm.
and got out.
Yeah.
And he's hit me up recently since he's been out.
Yeah.
But me and my wife, after that, you know, we get, of course, she helped me pay my rent, helped me pay that. I landed a job back with what I used to do, HVAC. I started getting all my, you know, I started making good money now. I'm like, dang. So then, like, it's like that test that God had to see, like, here, let's see which.
How serious are you about this? Yeah.
And when I threw it away, it was like, serious. Like, I don't go out. I don't go to clubs.
Yeah.
I don't hang around the same for nothing. Like, I tell them if they want to come with me to a neutral place, I said, please don't have nothing on you. Don't come
Sure.
smoking like nothing.
Sure, sure.
Yeah.
And they'll be like, "Oh, we'll just go kick it here." I said, "I don't do that."
Right.
Yeah.
And they're like, "But it's just a club." I said, "Look, that's the thing. At some point, as a man, you got to hold yourself accountable and you got to know what you can and can't do. Before I used to think, man, I should be able to go to the club like anybody else. And if I get in a fight, that's their problem. No, if I know
Yes.
this is my trigger point,
Yes.
then why, as a man, when I put myself in that situation,
Yes.
especially when I've already told this family, my wife, my kids, that I'm the head of a house. I'm the head of this house, so I'm responsible for this.
Yeah.
So I say no to clubs. I say no to all that. And if I decide to drink, I'm drinking at home.
Yeah.
That's just what it is. I got too much to lose.
I was in a meeting last night when we were talking about surrender. All right. And so that's a word that gets thrown around a lot.
Yes.
But the concept was, it was in the daily meditation, and it talked about surrender has signs. It's either you're just saying that you have surrendered, or there's going to be evidence that you have. And part of the evidence is that if you're a drug addict and you say you've surrendered, but you go to a party hanging out with people that are using, you haven't. You haven't. There's no evidence of that surrender.
Yeah.
Like, you don't do things that set you up to make decisions that you used to make.
Yeah.
Like, you stopped 5 decisions before the decision to pick up. You know, that's what surrender looks like.
Yeah.
And so that's why people are like, man, you've changed. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
There goes that saying, show me your friends.
Right, show you who you are. My dad used to say that to me all the time. He used to say, you catch the fleas of the dogs you run with. And
That's
and
the
I,
80s, 90s. Man.
yes, and I thought it was BS. I really did.
That's true.
And so in the program we have a saying like, you don't go rescue people from the dope house because they'll get you high before you'll get them clean.
Yeah.
You know, and so yeah, man.
Can I just say something really quick? And I love your story. And I'm sorry, I'm over here off camera, but I really love the part where you pick up the phone and it's your girlfriend And I think what saved you is showing her that vulnerability and letting her know, like starting to cry on the phone, because if you had hidden it, which you could have,
Yes.
you could have hidden it, you could have repressed those feelings, you could have been cool,
Oh, there.
but
I
you
want
didn't,
to.
and then you let it come to light,
Yeah.
and that's what saved you, because if you had kept it a secret,
I would have sold it.
Yeah,
we
I
got
would have sold it. No,
Yeah.
no, you're perfectly fine.
Yeah.
My wife since today, she's like, you're the one person that if I ever see cry, she goes, yeah, something's wrong. She's caught me crying.
Yeah.
Like heard me. She's heard it.
Yeah.
Because when the days when I'm missing my father,
Yeah.
stuff is I
Yeah.
don't have that guy to call. So I'm like, one of my friends, dear friends since 14 years old, passed away. My aunt Emma that I told you the day she was at hospice, so you know they come from a poor family. I'm doing good now.
Yeah.
So I took her to my home.
Yeah.
And I paid for everything.
Yeah.
Until she passed away. But when I lost her, like it was, I had to be strong for everybody else. But in the shower is my spot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like when I'm in the shower, that's when the water cleanses the tears.
Yeah.
That's when I talk to God. That's when I let it out. So now when I walk out that restroom, I'm the husband I'm supposed to be. I'm the father I'm supposed to be. I'm the provider I'm supposed to be.
Yeah.
My weakness was left in there.
Yeah.
I overcame it. I'm good.
But we taught spiritual stuff on there too, and faith, and even when Nikki is saying that's how the devil operated, right?
Yeah.
It was like, man, you fell back right into your ways, but look how quick God.
I got blessed. Yes.
And the thing is that that's what true strength looks like, is the willingness to be who I really am. The people who are always acting tough
Yeah.
are the weaker people.
Yeah.
Right.
The people who are willing to show their softness and their vulnerability, it's because they have the strength to do it.
Yep. So, man, I can't even imagine Angel not picking that phone and calling.
Dad,
Man, no.
Because it was, as you were in the car, because God was probably timid, like, hey, you need to call Miguel.
Well, I tell her every time, I said, and she uses it against me even when I get upset. Like when I get upset, she goes, remember, I'm your rib.
that's great.
Because I tell her that. Yeah.
So after she put the down payment from to be your girlfriend to a wife, how long after you guys got married?
Still not fully like the marriage deal because of the business and everything. So like we're like, what do you call it?
Come along.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
And the thing is, it's been like hectic. Like business took out. We started the business.
So what business are you doing right now?
So we do. I do a hot shot transport business. And literally we're the only hot shot. You got the big H, and we tried the big H and Willers, didn't like it.
Okay.
But we're the only hot shot company that has contracts with like Enterprise, Hertz, and
Wonderful.
You know what I'm saying? So like when you go to the fair, you see all those you need something. I'm the one that brought them there.
That's great.
And that's why I traveled to like I was in St. Louis. We just did Houston. We got to go this weekend again to do Houston. I got Dallas will be all next month, but then Oklahoma, Denver. We do those all the time.
Wow.
So and those just with everything going on, like the kids. Now the kids are grown. They're at the house, and we're like, "Hey, it's time." And she's like, "Is it?" I'm like, "What do you mean?" What's different is usually it's the girl that wants to be with her understanding. It's the guy that's like, "Let's go to court,"
Yeah.
But she wants to just go to court.
What?
And I'm like, "No, I want people to see my love for you." She goes, "I don't need that." She goes, "Why are you gonna spend this money for everybody else to have a good time? Well, we can go on a vacation."
Yeah, let's do a cheap wedding and a big honeymoon.
Like in her mind, she's like, "Just invite some people over, put some fajitas on the grill. We're good."
Yeah, that's awesome. Sold. I'm there, man. Jimmy, we have got to have him back.
We will. We'll have Miguel back. I'm telling you, Miguel, from the first time I met him, and Danny Ann really was. She really played in that. She was like, "Hey, you got to talk to Miguel." I knew a little bit of Miguel's story, but when she's like, "Hey," I was like, "Yeah, why didn't I even think about getting Miguel?" Because his story, being from being in prison, getting out, helping youth, murdering me on the mats. From his business.
Listen, murdering the two of us on the mat is nothing to be proud of.
I know.
It's not. That's like beating up a blood break.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, you know what they say: a win is a win.
Yeah.
A win is a win.
Guys, listen, man, we're going to have Miguel back.
Yes.
Miguel, I appreciate everything, man. Thanks for
Dude, such an honor to be a
you guys. Listen, go like, subscribe, and follow us. We love you guys. See ya.